This is a very big shift, and sometimes you cannot really understand President Trump, decisions. There is two stories, about that decisions. If he gonna to apply it soon, either cut the cost or the cut the cost of the Defense Department, in terms of saving some billions of dollars, or he really is pushing, the Europe to take their responsibilities in taking care of the European security. Of course, Trump, many times, since even the first term, he critiques, he did critique, Europe in terms of the defense budget. But Trump, to come to take that decision, and in his explanation, that is, in the military command hierarchy, now he is really interested about, cut the cost of the Department of Defense. This is can really make a big shift in NATO. U.S. Lead military defensive alliances, and of course, United States is the main provider of the security goods to the Europe, and United States was making what we called, the umbrella of the defense, umbrella of defense, even the nuclear umbrella. But now Europe is really facing their own future, or trying, to recognize their own future, because the current situation between Ukraine and Russia, Europe is not really happy.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that actually, Dr. Singer, because as you mentioned there, President Trump has been arguing that NATO allies should take more responsibility for their own defense, and he has been saying this consistently since his first term. Do you think the message is finally getting through to European nations?
Yeah, of course, they did receive it, and Europe is really taking, that situation in a very deep thinking and very serious response in terms of what, Europe decided to increase its budget to reach to 650 billion euro. This is almost, will be equivalent to United States by itself, military or defense budget. Second, yesterday, Germany, did approved, $3.3 billion to Ukraine, which means that that decision by United States to withdraw itself from NATO command, it didn't see. I can't really see that United States will withdraw from the NATO, but Musk or Trump, both of them, they were repeating, many times they were really interested to withdraw United States from NATO, and this is really big shift. This is going to really change, the international security arrangement, particularly in Europe and in Asia. This is completely in the opposite direction of Biden administration. Biden administration was working hard to make NATO very strong, make NATO one country, or apply the Article 5 in every country, or to every country in NATO. But now it seems to me like Trump is taking United States out of NATO obligations. Sometimes you can really hear or listen to the financial burden that, the central argument in Trump approach, to NATO with the financial cost, as I mentioned about the U.S. Defense Department. But Trump claimed that many times that it's been because of United States was really taking or burdening, the NATO defense spending by itself, where the other Europeans, they were not really meeting the, defense spending target of 2% of their GDP. And he did ask, for 5%. But it seems to me after that claim or that kind of discussions from United States or by Trump, it seems to me Europe will move more than 5% of their GDP, gross domestic product, for the near future. It seems to me like 2030, we'll see Europe in different situation, particularly UK, Germany, France, all of them are the major powers in Europe. They are taking that situation very seriously because this is a huge shifting of U.S. global strategy. that that kind of withdraw from leading NATO, and now United States need to be America first in terms of its foreign policy. This is probably will create many gaps in international security arrangements.
When it comes to this top job in NATO being relinquished and given up by the United States, as we've mentioned, this job has been held by an American since the beginning of NATO. Many retired military leaders, many who have held that position, have said this is an absolutely terrible idea for the United States. Can you see it happening?
I can't really buy this argument by Trump. Even Trump is very serious in his speech or in his talking, to Europeans, that is, United States will not be part of NATO or even withdraw from the NATO command. It seems to me like Trump is shaking the status quo, but leaving Europe alone is not healthy for the United States security arrangement. Like, if United States failed to keep that strong arrangement or security arrangement with Canada, this is terrible too. So my best understanding that is kind of Trump leadership style in terms of shaking the status quo, pushing the other European alliance to increase their share of defense budget of their GDP, probably the potential plan of Trump to bring Russia back to the U.S. security arrangement rather than Russia move to China. So this is gonna to please the Putin in current situation between Ukraine and Russia. So giving the Putin all the conditions in terms of achieving peace between Ukraine and Russia. Or in other words, give Russia the privilege to decide what is next step between Ukraine and Russia. So as Putin mentioned, Ukraine shouldn't be part of NATO. So reconstruction, that plan with NATO mean that's giving some push or pushing steps to NATO members, particularly in Europe, to accept the plan by United States and Russia to end that conflict between Ukraine and Russia. But Europeans, as alliance and as a NATO member, they are not accepting that kind of approach between Trump and Putin over Ukraine situation and over the NATO arrangements.
Well, we've just got a few seconds left. So in a word, from your prediction, in a word, yes or no, will an American still be in the top job at NATO this time next year?
Yeah. I believe that is NATO. United States will still commanding and taking care of NATO, because this is really disaster if United States was withdrawn from NATO for its security and for European security.